What's your most conservative opinion? As a Latino American, I do not particularly like the term Latinx. It's not something I've ever heard used in my largely Hispanic community at home but heard all the time from non-Hispanic people at college. I understand that the intention is inclusivity, so I do not get angry and will use the term if others are using it, but the nature of our gendered language has nothing to do with identity, it's culture, and for non-Hispanics to correct me on my use of gendered nouns is not something I particularly enjoy, and I'm not sure how to express my feelings beyond that. Cuban American here. I agree. Also, I get wanting to have a gender-neutral version of Latino and Latina, but growing up we called that word Latin. There are Cuban restaurants called Latin American restaurant, and there's a musical genre called Latin music, and there's a record company over here called Sony Latin. Adding the X just makes it harder to say, especially in Spanish. Also Cuban American, my white sister-in-law tried telling me that I was Latinx and not Latino. Well, I lost my shit. If you can't handle that the Spanish language has male and female words, then that's on you. You don't get to tell me how I identify as a Latino. It's the exact same with Filipinx for the Filipinos. There is no point in it. The word Filipino is already neutral. What? Who started that? That's the first time I've heard of Filipino X. Many Filipino Americans use Filipinx. It's been thoroughly debated in the Subtle Filipino Traits group on Facebook, and its use has been highly criticized by most Filipinos in the Philippines for reasons stated in this thread. Separately, Filipino Americans also frequently refer to the Philippines as PI, which is rarely used in the Philippines outside the U.S. I vehemently dislike the use of PI because it is a term specific to the time the U.S. colonized the Philippines and called it the Philippine Islands. The official name now is the Republic of the Philippines. Children don't belong on social media. To be fair, most adults don't either. My dad wouldn't let me get a smartphone until I was 16. I'm now 23, and I think that was probably one of the best things to ever happen to me as a recently new parent. I'm taking notes here. I was just talking about this with my partner. Gotta let your kids develop social skills and all that. So many kids these days can't even enjoy a meal together with friends and family, without being on their smartphone 24/7. Some kinks deserve to be shamed. Gay Twitter is livid today and totally shaming this one guy. He posted a video of himself walking around the grocery store with his face covered in semen. I really hope he gets placed on the sex offender list. That's crossing the line. Agreed. Additionally, not a fan of people who talk about their kinks out of the blue, with no consideration for whether listeners want to hear it. Some of my leftist friends have said that I'm not sex positive because of this opinion. Like no, Noah, you're not cool just because you like handcuffs. Now let me visit the library in peace. Like, what the fuck do you mean she's 500 years old, bro? Nah, you don't understand, bro. She only looks like a 10-year-old, but she's really a 500-year-old fox spirit, so it's legal. Welcome home, Oni-chan. Yeah, and that's the problem. Out of all the fictional characters, they choose to sexualize the one that looks prepubescent. She's just a drawing, doesn't make it any better. High schools push 4-year colleges too much. The school system should also push trade schools as much as 4-year colleges. There is a shortage of workers in trade fields, and I honestly believe it's because of how much high schools push 4-year degrees over trade schools. Holy fuck yes. I got a handful of cousins, a sibling, a few friends and damp, who all got degrees. All of us chased jobs pertaining to our degrees and damp, eventually said fuck it and damp, ended up in trade school in our late 20s for various trades. I got student debt to get a job that worked me 50+ hours a week on a $80K year salary. Now I make right over 6 figures working a standard 40-hour work week along with health insurance and damp pension. Makes me wish I skipped the first part and damp just started here. Well, if you have the option of making significantly less while absolutely devastating your body or getting a decent degree and being able to enjoy a retirement, which one would you choose? I've worked the trades most of my life, and I've made a somewhat decent life for myself by starting my own company. With that being said, I've also injured myself beyond repair, and I have a difficult time even picking up my children. I consider myself lucky, as there are thousands of guys out there that have suffered with stagnant wages but have gotten just as crippled. Most people working the trades have no retirement to speak of and will work until the day they die. Wow, what a real selling point. There's a reason every tradesperson in my family always told me to go to college. It wasn't pushiness or elitism. It was don't get fucked over like I did. I'd do it different if I could. I don't have much of an opinion on the subject, to be honest, but I do find it rather funny that one of the main criticisms of college is that 18-year-olds need to decide what they want to do for the rest of their life, but then trade school is offered as an alternative. You can do a lot of different things with a business degree. If you study HVAC, you're pretty much stuck doing HVAC. You're looking at it wrong. I chose electrician at 17, by 23 I was making $100 a year and zero student debt. I ended up starting my own business, but if I ended up hating it and wanted something different with my life I could easily sack away a bunch of cash then go to school for a different job. Trades opened up tons of options. I specialize in automation and security because I was more interested in that portion of electrical. Schooling is dirt cheap, and they pay you money back after every completed course. Now at 27 I'm getting tired of the work I do, so I've been slowly changing my business. If I was just an employee I'd go back to school for welding instead, and it would be extremely affordable to do so. I believe another issue is that the office jobs are where the money's at. Some people have left trades BC they spent more time trying to get paid than their actual jobs. I also wonder how the pay is in general for trades. A broader spectrum would be nice. I don't want to hear how someone's cousin is making enough money to be set for life when the average is actually much lower. Having worked trades with my dad before college and on the side, people wildly glorify trad work as if it's a straight ticket to wealth. This is false. These stories of dudes making six figures at 20 years old and living the life as a business owner by 25 is absurd. It's a small percentage of people doing that. And lots of them have small loans from dad, get tons of tools or dad's crew shop given to them when he retires, or are in the tiny portion of high-volume union work. For the vast majority of tradespeople I know, you make decent money, hustle your ass off to have work consistently, and cross your fingers that your body is physically capable of working long enough to get to retirement where you again hope your body isn't fucked up from years of hard, often dangerous labor. Look at almost every non-union work crew. There's always at least one old-timer. That one dude whose body is fucked up, but he can't retire cause he hasn't made enough to survive, let alone retire. And so you all let him be the dude who makes supply runs and slowly carries shit back and forth from the truck for you. He trained half of you and the boss and him had some grand times back in the day, so everyone tolerates him for the bullshitting and the silent acknowledgement that you hope someone keeps you on like that if you get to that point. This doesn't mean it's lesser than any specific 4-year career. Just that there's not a bunch of welders swimming around in a mud dog vault together. Also, schools absolutely push the trades all that damn time trying to help all kids get employed. The narrative that everyone's just shouting college at people is overstated and specifically a micro-nonsense conservative talking point. If there were more high-paying trades jobs that were easy and solid careers, they'd have workers out the ass. Look how quickly the pipelines can find workers to ride out to fucking North Dakota, live in a truck for months on the road, and subject yourself to boredom at insane levels leading directly to alcoholism at shit bars with the rest of the crew. And why do guys head out again and again? For the fucking money. But local contract work? Well, we need to see your bids, and we've got some contractors we're working with from Texas who we'll probably be bringing in too. So just keep that in mind. AKA half the crew is illegal. We won't check. And they'll outbid you if you try to get a fair rate out of us.